Hello everyone, I want to go ahead and just say welcome to the very first episode of the Fallout Equestria podcast. We would normally have a very special introduction by two of our other voice actors, but since this was done before they had a chance to join, we had to do it without them. So please, let me quickly just go ahead and say thank you very much for listening to the very first episode, and we did work very hard on it. I'm sorry for the various audio popping. With the audio software and the stuff we have, we cannot really do it proper. I'm very sorry about that. We will get that fixed in the next episode. What we're doing right now is, this is the very first episode. It is done in a different format. Eventually it will be changed to the newer format that we will have now, well, for the next upcoming episodes. So please continue to support us. We do have a Patreon. Please go onto the Patreon underneath patreon.com/eScorpStudio. We also have a Twitter. The Twitter isn't for the studio, it's for Little Pip, the character in the story. It is Little Pip Podcast, not podcast. It doesn't have a T at the end of it. We also have an amino. Underneath the Fallout Equestria amino, you can follow us there, and that is Eastcorp Studios. Simple to find us. We're usually always posting stuff on there daily. So I think that's about it. So thank you very much for listening in on the very first episode of the Fallout Equestria, an audio drama podcast. Please support us, and these episodes will be released every Saturday in 2-week intervals. We're very excited. I'm overjoyed, and from what it originally was to now, I cannot express my gratitude. So thank you very much. So I'll see you all during the podcast. Thank you very much. And hey, thanks. Once upon a time in the magical land of Equestria, there came an era where the ideals of friendship gave way to greed, selfishness, paranoia, and the jealous raping of dwindling space and natural resources. Lands took up arms against their neighbors. The end of the world occurred much as we had predicted. The world was plunged into an abyss of balefire and dark magic. The details are trivial and pointless. The reasons, as always, purely our own. The world was nearly wiped clean of life. A great cleansing, a magical spark struck by pony hooves quickly raged out of control. Megaspells rained from the skies. Entire lands were swallowed in the flames and fell beneath the boiling oceans. Ponykind was almost extinguished, their spirits becoming part of the ambient radiation that blanketed the land. A quiet darkness fell across the world. But it was not, as some had predicted, the end of the world. Instead, the apocalypse was simply the prologue for another bloody chapter in pony history. In the early days, thousands were spared the horrors of the Holocaust by taking refuge in enormous underground shelters known as stables. But when they emerged, they had only the hell of the wastes to greet them. All except those in Stable 2. For on that fateful day, when the spellfire rained from the sky, the giant steel door of Stable 2 swung closed and never reopened.
If I'm going to tell you about the adventure of my life, explain how I got to this place with these ponies, and why I did what I'm going to do next, I should probably start by explaining a little about Pip-Bucks.
What is a Pip-Buck? A Pip-Buck is a device worn on the foreleg just above the hoof, issued to every pony in a stable when they become old enough to start work. A blending of unicorn pony magic and science, your Pip-Buck will keep a constant measure of your health and even help administer healing poultices and other medicine, track and organize anything you have in your saddlebags, assist in repairs, and keep in all manner of notes and maps available at a hoof tap. Plus, it allows you to listen to stable broadcasts whenever you would like, as it can tune in and decrypt just about any radio frequency. And that's not all. A pony's Pip-Buck generates an EFS, or Eyes Forward Sparkle, that will indicate and help gauge whether the ponies are creatures around you are hostile, and perhaps most impressively, a Pip-Buck can magically aid you in a fight for brief periods of time through the use of the SATS, or Stable Tech Arcane Targeting Spell. Oh, and a feature not to be forgotten. It can keep track of locations and tagged objects or people, including wares of other Pip-Bucks. So, if a pony somehow got lost, don't ask me how you get lost in a stable, but it does happen on occasion. Then any pony who knew the lost pony's tag could find them instantly. It can even be made to glow like a lamp.
So yes, Pip-Bucks really are a testament to unicorn pony arcane science. And yes, having a Pip-Buck is a big advantage. So with how wonderful and miraculous all that just sounded, it's hard to impress upon ponies who never lived in a stable just how ordinary, how pedestrian a Pip-Buck was in the eyes of the ponies living in stable 2, and just how disappointing it was to have one as my cutie mark.
It didn't help that I was the last pony to get her cutie mark. Not surprising in retrospect, kind of tough to find out what you're supposed to be good at when what you're supposed to be good at is something you don't get until you found out what you're supposed to be good at. So I tried everything. I tried to invent new things as a unicorn pony myself. My innate magics allowed me a level of fine manipulation that earth ponies don't enjoy. Any pony can hold a key in their teeth and open a lock, but using multiple tools in a very delicate operation, that requires precision levitation. So I decided to learn to pick locks with a bobby pin and screwdriver, and I was even getting pretty good at it. Unfortunately, it didn't get me my cutie mark. It just got me into trouble. I even, to my humiliation, went through the Kkat, or cutie mark aptitude test, in the hopes it would guide me to what makes me special. But no, my Kkat was utterly average, with only marginally higher scores in a couple areas, indicating that I might be suited for work as a Pip-Buck technician or a stable loyalty inspector. Two options, I should note, that were even less impressive when you consider that it was generally expected that unicorn ponies go into either technical or administrative work. That is, except the unicorn ponies who are natural artists, like Velvet Remedy. As technical work demands, likewise, the Overmare and her government were always unicorn ponies. It is the Overmare's unicorn magic that'll, after all, that creates the false sunlight used to grow our underground apple orchard. And while our apples might not look like those beautiful red things in the old books, they will keep us alive. It was only because they let me try my hooves at both positions that I gained access to a Pip-Buck before receiving my own. Otherwise, I might have never gotten my cutie mark.
Oh. My name is Little Pip. Go figure. I was given the name because I was the youngest and the smallest, and even my mother had the good sense not to call me Pipsqueak. Not that I don't love her, but when a filly's cutie mark is a hard glass of apple cider. Anyway, it's funny how names turn out sometimes. Pleased to meet you. Here's my story.
And no one knows it, where she came from, where she's going.
Fallout Equestria, an audio drama, is a production of Scrpit Studios. Fallout Equestria, Little Pip, any other characters in the story pertaining to or is about Fallout Equestria belong to Kkat. The voice of Little Pip was Tyrose, the storytelling vampire. The narrator was Nyx. Audio mixing done by Oakheart. The script writing was done by Oakheart and Nyx. Please support the official release. If you would like, please follow us on the Amino app at Scrpit Studios. We also have a Twitter at Little Pip Podcast. We'd like to hear from you. Stay safe out there, guys. It's a dangerous place in the wastes.